All right, this one's about MCS again. And I think the first one I mentioned about how I trained for my my sensitivities to go away. So I'll do this again. I'll kind of go through the exposure training part right now. So I'll cut to the chase. So what I did is I did the DNRS version at that time. Now, if I were to do it, I would do my version, which would be not using rounds for, after you trigger yourself and you go into a round, right? Now I would just trigger myself and just allow the symptoms to be. Allow them to go crazy and then engage in life. That's my version. But I'll show you what I did at that time, which was the DNRS version. So you're triggered, everything's too much, your sensitivities times 1,000, everything, you can smell something that's a mile away, right? Your nose is just insanely powerful and it's driving you nuts, and you get all these symptoms, skin rashes, your headaches, panic attacks, blood pressure goes up and down, heart rate goes up and down, your tachycardia, panic attack, yeah, you name it, right? It can send you there, and it sucks. It's horrible. It's like going through a war zone, right? And what happens is people have avoidance behaviors. It's the avoidance behaviors that keep this thing going. And I understand why people avoid things, because it's fucking hell. So, follow my 5 keys to recovery, because you need to bring your baseline down. Because what happens is, usually there was one thing that triggered the MCS to fucking spike, and then all of a sudden they have it. It could have been that they walked by something or like a store. They went to a store to get some perfume, and they're surrounded by all this perfume, and it triggered a stress response, and then all of a sudden, boom, they have MCS. Or they smelled bleach, and then all of a sudden it just, for some reason, like the other 1,000 times you smelled bleach before, it never did anything, but this time it did, right? That's because your bucket got full. It's not the bleach. It's not the perfume. It's that your bucket got full through all your life bullshit that you've been through, medications, toxic relationships, you name it. Mental and physically, your loads were starting to build up. Your bucket got fuller and fuller, right? You have an overflowing bucket, and your baseline's up here. You're in a survival state. So any little drop, could be anything, triggered your pot to overflow, right? And then you have these new symptoms, and people think that, well, it's the MCS. They think it's that. They identify everything with that, when it's not that. It's just another symptom that's uncomfortable. All right, so I'll get to what I did. So I took things slowly, right? I didn't go to perfume store and just run through and, right? Because then you just re-traumatize the loop. You don't want to do that. You don't want it to be too overwhelming. So you want to kind of ease in a little bit. So what I did is I used, because smell is an interesting thing. Smells can bring you to a place instantly, a memory, right? It can bring you to a beautiful place. It can bring you to all kinds of places. But we're going to use this to our own advantage. Colognes, for some reason, perfumes, they bring me places to my teenage years, right? Like I have one here. Memories, right? Eternity. When I smell eternity, it brings me back to when I was in grade 9, 10. The years when I was into Nirvana, in high school, and all my friends, and playing guitar, and just being a teenager, and I had such good memories. And when I had this sense, when I was so sensitive with all these smells, I wanted to see, how would I reprogram? And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to bring up a memory. So you're supposed to trigger yourself with the smell. Bring up a memory that is very pleasant, right? So it could be, you're fishing with your dad, you're playing hockey with your friends, right? And then you go back in time, right? After you smelt, you go back in time and you do the visual and you talk about it. Like, oh, I was playing with my buddy Steve. We were playing hockey, and we didn't have anybody in net, but he was always good at doing a wrist shot, and I could never fucking do it. So I do a slap shot, and I would break the stick, and it was just right. So you get into the detail of it, and that's dose: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin. You're sitting in dose. What happens when you do that is you're changing the response. Instead of freaking out, avoidance behaviors, white knuckling, you're going, right? And when you do that, the brain sees that and goes, maybe the perceived danger that I have about this smell is wrong, and I could turn that alarm off. See, that's how the rounds worked, right? So this is what I did. I would just take a bottle. I wouldn't spray it yet. I would smell it very lightly, quick, right? You want to go in little bitty bites. And it would pop a memory. I did this with eternity. It would pop a memory, and I would sit in that memory. I'm like, oh, yeah. Nirvana, music. I had long hair. Okay, and I was... my first song that I learned on guitar, and I showed all my friends, and they loved it. And then they started learning guitar. And so I did that for 15 minutes. Then I put this bottle, put it away, and engaged. Went back to whatever I was doing, cutting the lawn or watching TV or reading about something. I don't remember. But it doesn't matter. You're engaging. And then 2 hours later, I'd come back. I'd pick up the bottle. And by the way, while this is happening, I'm getting symptoms, right? You're triggering a stress response. But I did it incrementally with a small amount. So it wasn't so bad. And even if it is bad, that's okay. You're expecting this. This is what you want. You want to trigger a stress response. You're going to feel like shit, right? But I'm just telling you what I did so that you can start somewhere. You can start now, right? So I did it again. And it brought me to that memory. Oh, yeah. Nirvana, playing guitar, long hair, hot girls in high school. Okay. Put the bottle down and went back and I engaged, right? I did that for a couple of days. Then I picked up a new smell. I took some of my wife's perfume, smelled that, and I did a round, so a memory, because I didn't have any memories with that perfume. But if you can find one that maybe one of your ex-girlfriends or somebody wore that was pleasant, go into that memory. So I did that, same thing, smelt it, did a round for 15 minutes, went engaged in life. And then I started using other smells, more uncomfortable ones. And it's just ironic that bleach, for some reason, gives me a pleasant memory. So I used it to my advantage. I took a piece of toilet paper and I sprayed some of that spray bleach, right? And I was like, holy fuck. So I just kind of went and I put it down over there. I could smell it from where I was. I was like, man, this shit's fucking... Whew. Anybody else, you can go like this. They're like, yeah, it's strong. But if you were to put it over there, you wouldn't, like, I don't smell nothing. But me, I could smell that. So I knew that. I sprayed it. I put it over there. And I went into a memory that involved bleach. My memory was me and my mom and my dad, we used to, when people would move out of their apartments, we used to restore them. So we were like the landlord's superintendents. And to make extra money, my parents would fix the walls, paint, clean the ovens, and we'd use bleach to clean the floors and stuff. And my job was to clean the floors. So when I smelt the bleach, it brought me there, and I loved it because it's a good memory, right? Being with my parents, young age. So I sat in dose and I went through the details of what we did and how the day went and all the little details. It was very important. So I sat in dose with the bleach sitting over there, and then eventually the next day did the same thing, but I was holding the bleach, so it's like you can get the fumes a little bit, right? And I smelt that, and I would put it down, and I would do a round. In this case, it would be a visual, right? A round. And then I went from, then the bleach was no big deal. Then I noticed that, I could hold it here. It's not a big deal. The perfume, not a big deal. The cologne, okay, not a big deal. So then I used like bath salts and potpourri. And then I started doing other smells that I could control, like towels. And, and I was doing this every day, 4 to 5 times a day. You can do it for whatever you're somewhat comfortable, but get uncomfortable. By the way, you're going to feel like shit. That's the point. We want you to feel like shit. Don't get too comfortable here. We want you to move forward. We want you to do exposure. And while you're doing it, don't white knuckle. And don't survive through the exposure. Remember that. This is my method. Now, if you want to do the DNRS method, like I mentioned, go ahead. But my method is a little quicker. You smell the smell, right? Symptoms come up, you feel like shit. The what if thoughts come, and you just allow it. You go, that's all right. Run wild. Do what you got to do. Let the thoughts run wild. Let the symptoms run wild. Embrace it. Ask for more. Go, bring me more symptoms. I love this. And if you want, put some music on and start dancing. Because if you're dancing to music, right? If you're dancing to Step by Step, ooh baby, while you're having a fucking nightmare of symptoms because you just smelled some shit, guess what? The brain's gonna see that and go, okay, why is this guy fucking singing, what are they called again? I was gonna say the Backstreet Boys. New Kids on the Block. Holy shit. Right, New Kids on the Block. The brains go, why is he singing New Kids on the Block? He's obviously happy. He's dancing. So we're going to turn that alarm off, right? That's how my method works. It's faster, to the point. You don't have to look for a memory right away. Keep your visuals for that 1 hour a day only. That's it. Don't do them again for that day. When you expose yourself to a smell it. Oh, I feel, oh my God. Right? You've got symptoms coming. That's okay. Allow them to run wild. Embrace. Put some music on and dance. You're smelling the perfume in the washroom and you're dancing. You're making a party, right? And the brain's going, okay, he's having a party. This is obviously, there's no fire here. He's not freaking out. There's no alarm here. Let's turn this shit off. The brain turns it off. And you do that a couple times a day. But you got to engage after. And then within for me, it took me less than a week. And my sensitivity was gone. Poof. Yeah, I know. It works that quick. If you're doing the methods properly, right? It works that quick. And it's almost frustrating because people are like, the internet made it this big, crazy monster. It doesn't have to be. That's with a lot of things with chronic illness. It's a lot of smokes and mirrors. And when you recover, you almost feel like you've been had. You've been had by the big bullshit brainwashing. And it's not their fault either, because they didn't know. You didn't know. Nobody knew, right? And we tend to believe the doctors. We tend to believe the gurus that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They have no fucking idea. Instead, believe the people that recovered. Believe the people that been through the shit. And believe the pudding. Because proof's in the pudding. So, I should call this video pudding, but people wouldn't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So, if you're dealing with sensitivities, try what I talked about. Go incrementally. And if it's even doing this is too much, then keep it at a distance. But as long as you see it, and at a distance far enough where you can smell a little bit of it, you need to be triggered, right? The point is you got to be triggered. Even like put some on your finger or something and go like, right? You got to be triggered. Don't get too comfortable. Don't avoid too much. Don't be like, no, but I'm triggered. Yes. Get triggered. We want you to get triggered. And after you're triggered, don't go, I'm triggered. Because right? I'm triggered. No. When you do that, you're sending the response of freak out, and the brain's going, yeah, that alarm's on. I was right to perceive danger. Keep that alarm on. Good job. I'm going to pat myself on the back. Yeah, keeping them alive. I know. No. You don't want to do that. Trigger yourself, and you know you don't feel like you don't feel good, right? But go, you know what? You know what, Limby? Give me some more of that shit. Give me that headache. It's already there. Okay. Why is my skin not rashed? You're a little late to the game. Let's go. Come on. Oh, there it is. Okay. Loving it. Right? And that's what you have to do to prove to the brain to change the programming to shut off alarms. Right? Don't white knuckle. Don't survive through it. Embrace it. Ask for more. Right? Fake it till you make it. Think greater than you feel. And eventually the brain will trust you. And it will turn off the alarms. And your sensitivity will come down. Right? And you won't be in as much as of a war zone. But you're still doing the other methods too. You're bringing down your baseline. You're working on other symptoms, right? You're exposing yourself to other fears, other things, not just to MCS. You're doing other things too, right? That's just the one. For me, that was just a 1 out of 69 other symptoms that I was dealing with. So, all right. So this is part 2. And I might have to do more videos about this subject. So if I've got any questions, I'm sure I missed some. I'm sure there's a lot of things I can cover. Hey. Is there a dog there? Anyway, it's snowing. We're in November the 27th. So I'm going to be pushing a lot of videos out when I can. Hopefully like 3 a week. So I'll see you in the next video. And if you got any questions, what's up? If you got any questions, drop them down below. All right, see ya.